So, the age old debate, what should you follow? Like, should you be a science based lifter like a bitch, or like, listen to your brothers who say, do this, do that, right? And I'm going to cover some of the main ones, to be honest, because I think those are the most important ones. There's, some of the ones that I don't think I need to cover, like, high reps for smaller muscle groups, to be honest, because it's kind of true. So, high reps for really biceps and for shoulders, because those are really small muscle groups. It doesn't hurt to do, train them every single day and basically, kind of overtrain them. They would recover because they are smaller muscle groups. So I know you guys might have a confusion, regarding that. But today I'll try to cover basically what, like, some of the most important ones that might be confusing you guys. And I'm pretty sure, not pretty, like, I'm really sure after watching this video, you guys would absolutely have the equipped knowledge that you would need to implement in your training protocol, whatever that is. So first comes basically the age old debate between which is good, Smith machine or like the free weights or barbell. The thing is, there is no such thing called one superior movement than the other, right? Leg press isn't a superior movement than squat. Squat isn't a superior movement than leg press. Leg extension isn't a superior method when it comes to, like machine leg extension or like in single leg extension, whatever that is. RDL isn't superior to hamstring curls, right? It all comes down to what are you optimizing for, right? For me, I love all of them. I do each and every one of them depending upon my training in Army program, what I have at that day, right? So, for example, I mean, yeah, so fuck it. Like, let me just give you a little bit of leak from my training program for my chest day. So, like I said, I have been preaching this for the longest time, right? I keep 1 week for complete strength training, and the next week I, keep it for each and every muscle group when it comes to hypertrophy training, right? So, what I do is maybe I've hit heavy incline dumbbell press, right? Like actual incline 45-degree, right? I think it's in the third knob, or when you want to make your bench incline, right? Well and good, no problem with that. I went heavy on it, right? And mostly target my upper pecs. Like mostly, it also targets your front delts. As I said, you don't need to basically over focus on your front delts. But yeah, keeping to this point, I've had like heavy dumbbell press, right? Heavy incline dumbbell press. Then what I do is like instead of hitting, another free weight or something like that, I go to Smith machine press, and then I do slide inclined Smith machine press, right? So that I'm not only targeting my upper pecs, but I'm also engaging a little bit of my mid pec, like my mid pectoral muscles, right? And the reason for that is I'm kind of already, exhausted my stabilizing muscles, right? Because, when you're, using dumbbells, the problem with that, and it's not really a problem, the nuance or the factor that includes into, dumbbell press is that you also can stabilize it, right? It's not like you're only pressing it. You have to hold it in place and then press it. You know, it is very different from a Smith press. When it comes to Smith press, Smith machine press, you don't have to worry anything about the stabilizing factor of doing an exercise. All you need to do is focus on just pushing that movement. Pushing that bar up your chest, right? So it kind of gives me the peace of mind and basically, just, focus on pushing, right? Rather than just all focusing on stabilizing, right? So this is how I pair up, right? I do one basically free weight. It can also be done with, barbell. Maybe my program says that today I do barbell press, right? And then after doing it, I do, um, you know, Smith machine press, right? Or like I do Smith machine press first, and then I, move on to maybe barbell or, dumbbells. So yeah, this is really to basically say that, there is the superior movement. Use all of them. Use machines. Use free weights to best of their capabilities, so that you could target each of those fibers, each of those muscles that you hopefully want to target in a single day, right? So yeah, that's about it for the first point. The second point is, and the second myth, I wouldn't say myth, but it's kind of a bro science. People say that deadlifts are good, right? Some people say deadlifts are absolutely shitty. So basically, heavy deadlifts and heavy squats. What does bro science says and what does basically science says. On this one, I will differ. Cat, I mean, sorry to disappoint you guys who are absolutely deadlift addicts or like a heavy squats addict. The problem is you guys are kind of emotionally attached to this movements, right? You guys are emotionally attached to heavy squat, heavy bench, heavy deadlift, right? It's not like you even do it for muscle hypertrophy. You even do it for strength. You do it for, numbers. You do it, ego lifting wise, right? You guys are kind of attached, right? The more numbers you pull, you think the more bitches you will pull. It doesn't work like that. The more numbers you pull, kind of doesn't correlate to the like amount of respect that you get. Yes, if done it with the picture perfect textbook form, you will gain respect and you will gain muscle and you will gain strength, right? But let me get a little bit more deeper into it. I would say that the fatigue to muscle gain ratio, the fatigue to stimulus ratio isn't just worth it for me when it comes to deadlift, right? I'll talk about squat just in a minute, but let's talk about deadlift first. The fatigue to stimulus or like the tears that I talk about isn't just worth it for me. When you do a heavy set of deadlift, you're so fucking fatigued. Like you would just if I give you a bed, you would probably sleep, right? That's why you see those power lifters after heavy squats, after heavy deadlift, they need to sit down in a bench and basically rest for like 10 minutes, right? So you get so much fatigue for so little stimulus. I mean, just think about it. Deadlift is an exercise that almost works each like almost every muscle of your body. It works your even your traps, even your rear delts. Nonetheless, it works your quads, your hamstrings, your back. Almost your entire back, your lower back, all that stuff, right? So the load is being basically, equally divided into all of these muscle groups. So I don't think it's a good exercise for for muscle hypertrophy, for strength building, for sure. But if you actually want to optimize for muscle building, for aesthetics, you can do deadlift if you feel good and if you actually feel fatigued from it. By fatigued, I mean you actually have a piercing soreness after you have a good deadlift session the next day, right? So yeah, for me, the fatigue is just not worth it. For the little stimulus that I get, maybe I'm targeting my lower back, maybe I'm targeting my hamstring because all of those load has already been distributed by my other body parts. Now let's come down to heavy squats. Heavy squats, if done correctly, is a beautiful exercise, and I mean both like wide leg squats and short stump squats. Squats is like absolute game changer. I don't care what anyone says. Squats with the perfect amount of weight, the weight that you actually can carry or like go full range of motion for 10 reps is what I would say is a perfect weight for you, right? Squats, if done correctly, is an amazing exercise, right? It doesn't put little to no stress in your lower back, but which, by the way, if you're feeling too much stress on your lower back, which means your quad isn't capable of handling that weight, right? What I would suggest is, lower the weight. Like your quad isn't basically capable of, handling the weight. That's why it is kind of transferring the weight to your lower back, right? So and it is really a simple rule, right? Like whatever muscle you're trying to hit, if you're trying to hit that muscle and you feel like your other muscles are getting fatigued, right? Even if your form is, fucking awesome, chances are you are ego lifting because your muscle, like the muscle you're trying to target, isn't capable of handling that weight. That's why it is accumulating other muscle fibers, other muscle groups to help it out, right? I hope this makes sense. So yeah, squats, deadlift, if done correctly with the picture perfect form, specifically squats. I don't usually, like deadlifts to be honest, in my personal opinion. So yeah, if done correctly, it could be a really game changer for you as long as you enjoy, as long as you do it picture perfect form, as long as you are progressively overloading each and every week. So it is good, like I do in squats. So yeah, point number 3 is mind muscle connection, right? And I'm going to give you a little hack. And to be honest, this is the hack that I, used it for years and years and years. And it has given me like unimaginable, results because the moment I start doing it is the moment I have, skyrocketed my case, which is how to actually do mind muscle connection, right? And for the longest time, really, it was bro science, right? Like a mind muscle connection, feel your muscles are getting stretched, right? For the longest time, it was mind muscle connection. But within the last 5 years or like 10 years, no, actual studies have came out. I think it was Jeff Nippard, uh, with some I'm forgetting the name of the dude, but he was having a conversation, like a podcast with him, and he was kind of explaining that now actual science based, experiments and like theory and like, papers have been published that mind muscle connection is that particular form or like that stage in between an exercise where you are in the groove of it and you're feeling your fibers getting stretched, right? So mind muscle connection really, hones, like in the way to own your mind muscle connection is through practice, right? Like, I mean, think about it. That's why I always preach, like, you need to go to the gym 5 times a day, like at least five, sorry, like, 5 times a week, right? You at least need to go to the gym at least 5 times a week. And the reason for that is practice. The more, practice you do over a particular movement, the better your mind muscle connection will get when it comes to that exercise and that particular movement of exercise. So yeah, all that to say is that, so now let's come down to how to basically achieve that, peak mind muscle connection, right? If you have seen Michael Hurd, what he does is basically, he kind of closes his eyes and then he does the exercise, right? And the easiest way to basically, have mind muscle connection is close your eyes, right? Like, do it with me and imagine that your muscles are getting stretched. So the next time, maybe you're doing lat pull down or like dumbbell press or any exercise, like, double curl, whatever that is. Just close your eyes and think that your muscles are getting stretched, right? You already know what muscles looks like, you've already read, like, read those biology books in your class 10, 12, something like that. So you already know, like, what muscles looks like. So yeah, just close your eyes and think that your muscles are getting stretched when you are doing this eccentric portion of the exercise, and your muscles are getting contracted when you're doing the contraction, portion of the exercise, right? So yeah, this is the best way, and do it over and over and over again for each and every set, for each and every rep, for each and every working session. As long as you do it, you will gain that elite level mind muscle connection that you're looking forward to, right? And to be honest, I didn't know about it. I just, kind of, relied on my instincts and kind of relied on my practice makes perfect thing, which is true, to be honest. The more practice you do, the better you will get at this mindless connection thing. But yeah, just a little bit, tip that, when you close your eyes and think and imagine that your muscles are getting stretched, it makes the process so much easier. So yeah. And point number 4 is really basically training till failure. So there's a lot of debate, right? And it's kind of sad because I don't see anyone talk about it, which I maybe show you, like, let me tell you how you should approach this whole train till failure thing, right? And this is the most important part of this video. So if you have already made it towards this part of the video, props to you. You have, watched the entire video and finally made it to the most important one. So there's a lot of debate in this whole, fitness industry. You shouldn't train till failure. You should have at least 2 or 3 reps in reserve, and some guys might say, like, for Sam, so like he trains to failure every single set, every single working session, every single time he hits the gym, right? So I'm gonna end all of that debate, and it is so fucking simple. If you just follow this thing, like, you wouldn't need to basically worry about it or like think about it, right? Like, all you need to do is just basically follow what I do, and you will solve this problem that, okay, what should I do, what shouldn't I do, should I train to failure, how, often, and all of that stuff. So yeah, maybe you're doing dumbbell press, right? You're doing dumbbell press, and I know, like, I always use the example of dumbbell press because it's kind of my favorite exercise when it comes to building chest, that really big upper chest. But yeah, let's say you're doing dumbbell press, right? You buy my program, which you should, to be honest. It's a fucking great program. You buy my program, and it says, based on your body weight and all that stuff, you should hit 30 kgs for 4 working sets of 10 reps. Let me repeat it. You should hit 30 kgs of 4 working sets of 10 reps, consisting of 10 reps, right? Maybe you have been going to the gym for at least like 2 years or like 6 months. You could lift the, I'm at 30 kgs easy, right? You go, 10 reps on first set. You go maybe 9 reps on the second set. Maybe you go third rep. 9 reps on the third set, and maybe 8 or 7 reps on the fourth set, right? Completely normal rep range for any guy who's starting, No problem with that. Now, listen to this part of this video really carefully, right? When you're following a program, so just like I'm hearing me out. When I say that, don't try to go overboard, even if you think you could do more than 10 reps on the first set, don't do it, right? Because remember, your target for today is not to hit 10 reps on the single set, like on the first set. No, that's not your target. Your target is basically to hit 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, and 10 reps on each of those individual 4 sets, right? If you push too hard on the first set, you would be too fatigued to basically complete those 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, mark for each of those each of those remaining 3 sets, right? Like, let me repeat it. If you are capable of going a little bit more than maybe 11 or 12 reps on your first set, don't do it. Because remember, that's not the goal. Your goal is to basically complete 10 reps for each of those sets. And you would never be able to do if you fatigue your muscle too much on the first set, right? I hope it makes sense. And it's so fucking easy, right? Now let's come down to training to failure, right? Maybe you go, really, so, you came to this channel, you take my advice, and you actually implement my advice, right? Because knowledge acquired is really useless until and unless you actually implement it in your daily life. So maybe you do 10 reps easily. Like, not easily, but maybe you struggled a little bit on the 10 rep, but you didn't go overboard, right? You didn't try to push super hard, right? Because remember, your aim is basically 10 reps. Maybe you do 10 reps on the second set, also cool. Maybe you kind of struggling at the 8th rep on the third set, right? This is where you should push past your limits, right? And I know it's My Hero Academia kind of reference. I don't know why I said it, but I don't know if you guys watch anime or stuff like that. Well, yeah, this is where you should push past your limit, right? If you're struggling on the 8th rep, try to go for the 9th rep. Go beyond failure, right? And you probably would never be able to do 10th rep on the third set if you're struggling on the 8th rep, right? And I don't mean, use a spotter. Don't use a spotter. Do it yourself, right? Maybe you I'm struggling on the 6th rep on your 4th set. Try to push beyond failure and get 7 or 8 reps, right? And you would never be able to do, 9th or the 10th rep, to be honest, on the 4th set. This is how you should train to failure, right? Now, I have preached like hundreds of times in this video, in this entire channel, that, you should be targeting to complete those 10 reps for those upcoming weeks, like 10 reps, 10 reps, 10 reps, and 10 reps. As long as you could not do it, don't increase the weight. So for the upcoming weeks, you should be targeting to complete the goal, right? Hitting 10 reps on each set, and go beyond failure as long as you, cannot achieve it, right? So yeah, I hope these things, this living nuance really made it clear. So if you need to train till failure on the first set, fine, no problem with that. It can happen. Like, maybe you cannot get 10 reps on the first set. Go beyond failure. Like, go beyond failure on each and every set. Because remember, like, your target is 10 reps, right? I'm pretty sure on the next week, you will be able to hit 10 reps on the next, on the dumbbell press, right? Because you went beyond failure the first set in the previous week, right? I hope it makes sense, right? And really, this is all the bro science, kind of the real science. I wanted to basically debate with myself and, see what you guys think about it. And yeah, that's about it. Peace.